Hello everyone, I'm Sharpedo43 once again, bringing you all week 6 of the NGDL. Today we're going to be facing Sebgandi and the DC Sceptiles, and we're going to be bringing this team that we have right here, consisting of Heliolisk, Volcanion, Cradily, Cofagrigus, Sylveon, and Dragonite. Reason being is because the team that I anticipated from him was Gardevoir, yeah, or should I, let's do it in the order that I definitely anticipated them to come. First was Marshadow, definitely Marshadow, because Marshadow can answer the entirety of my team with just spamming Spectral Thief, Close Combat, or even Drain Punch. He has the Cure in Black because that thing also hits really dang hard. I definitely anticipate the Feraligatr so that it can get Dragon Dances up in outspeed and sweep everything. Yeah, Gardevoir to just absorb any Dragon type I try to use with Dragonite. And then here, the last two Mons, I wasn't necessarily expecting the Luxray and the Dusclops, but if he did not bring those, he would definitely bring in the Beartic and Obama Snow combination. But if it wasn't those two, it'd definitely be the Luxray and Dusclops, just because Dusclops is bulky enough to take a lot of hits, even probably from Sharpedo, and then just go for Will-O-Wisp or something. And Luxray can possibly have Intimidate just to weaken the attack of my Sharpedo. So yeah, as you can see though, I did not bring Sharpedo whatsoever. In fact, I was actually debating whether or not I should bring it over to Dragonite, but ultimately I decided not to because I figured that I would only need Sharpedo specifically for the Marshadow, but Protect on Sharpedo to outspeed the Marshadow is way too predictable, and on top of that, his Marshadow can also be Scarfed, so I figured, yeah, you know what, let's not bring it, because if I do the Protect strategy, he could actually run Substitute on the Marshadow and then just freaking put me away or something, and I did not want that, so I definitely didn't bring him. Instead, I decided to just bring in Dragonite, just because Dragonite can definitely absorb hits with the multi-scale, and then I can capitalize on from there, basically. But yeah, this is the battle. A lot of before I go into the battle, this is kind of what I had planned with this team. The plan here was to get rocks up with Cradily so that I can actually get a lot of chip damage on anything that he switches in, because this guy does tend to switch out quite an amount of times from my previous experiences with him. So I definitely feel like I was going to need those, and also he didn't seem to have a hazard remover, and if he does have one, he'd be forced to use it, and I can capitalize on his attempts at trying to get rid of the hazards. I definitely needed to distract them from getting away with too much with Marshadow and Cure in Black, because those two things were really what I was afraid of particularly. And then set up Toxic Spikes with Cofagrigus, because Cofagrigus, if it gets Trick Room up, it can just spam Hex and literally everything on his team would just fall to pieces. What I expected from him to come was all not airborne, so putting Toxic Spikes up was definitely important. So, and not to mention, I kind of felt like Cofagrigus can maybe do something. I wasn't sure if it could or not, but I definitely wanted to give it a shot in this battle. So yeah, this is going to be the battle. It's going to be against Sebgandi, a guy who I just don't like, but what are you going to do? Especially when he's trying to copy my freaking style. God damn it, son of a... No, I'm not going to say anything. But anyways, he's going to lead off with Luxray, and I'm going to lead off with Heliolisk. Reason why I led with Heliolisk was because my Heliolisk was in fact Focus Sash, on the off chance he led with Marshadow, which could easily lead, and just spam Close Combat or Spectral Teeth, whatever he feels is likely to come in on the first turn lead, basically. So because unfortunately this wasn't the Marshadow, I decided to switch out. I didn't Volt Switch because I was afraid of this thing being Scarf and him breaking my Focus Sash, so I definitely just hard switched into Cradily. And here he went for Protect, so I was thinking maybe this is a bulky Toxic set or something. So I went into this, and I decided to stay in and go for Stealth Rocks. It could have carried Ice Fang, so because of the Guts ability and whatnot, but I didn't think it would do too much to Cradily. Instead, he surprises me with the Superpower, which I actually didn't know if it could carry, because I almost never see Luxrays in all honesty. But yeah, after getting the rocks up, I decided to preserve this Cradily for Death Fodder later, and I go into Cofagrigus, and just to see if he goes for another Superpower. He does not. He ends up going for a Ice Fang now, just so that he doesn't risk getting another attack drop. But this Ice Fang, not only am I able to take it very well, but now he loses the Guts ability thanks to the Mummify ability, which is actually really good, not gonna lie. But now here he's actually gonna hard switch straight into Marshadow. I honestly did not expect him to make this switch, because if I had went for Shadow Ball there, this thing would have gone down really quickly. So here I went for Toxic Spikes, thinking he would switch into anything but this Marshadow. So, and then here I just decide to sack Cradily, because like I said, I don't have really good switch-ins for Marshadow. So I definitely decided to send in my weakest mon. Not to mention this Credilli kind of falls apart to anything on Gandhi's team. This Marshadow could have Ice Punch for Credilli, or even just Drain Punch. Kieran Black can Ice Beam. For Alligator can Ice Punch. Like, a lot of things cover Credilli, so I figured it was definitely the most disposable thing on my team for fodder. So now that I get a free switch in the Healer Lisk, which is what I wanted after sacking Credilli, I wanted to go for the Glare, so that way I can paralyze his Marshadow and make it slower than a lot of my team, so that my team can outspeed it and get rid of it as soon as possible. He does not allow that though. He actually probably saw the Glare coming, and that's why he's switching the Dusclops. And the Dusclops does not get paralyzed because of the Toxic Spikes that I set up earlier. But the good news is that a lot of his team is now going to go down to this, or is going to get withered down by Toxic Spikes. So what I wanted to do here now was just find an opening so I can send in Cofagrigus, set up Trick Room, and start going for Hex, because Hex will definitely take out the majority of his team. So what I wanted to do here was with Sylveon. The reason why I switched it in was because I wanted to see what moves it possibly could carry. He went for Will-O-Wisp, which is alright with me. He then goes for Seismic Toss, which is actually a lot more better than Nightshade in my opinion, because if he carried Nightshade, I wouldn't be able to send in Cofagrigus for free. But because it's Seismic Toss, I definitely felt like, you know what, let's switch out and go into Cofagrigus. I wasn't sure if he carried a Shadow Ball or something to cover my Cofagrigus. He ends up going for Pain Split, so that's already 3 moves revealed and no signs of the Ghost move. So I was thinking, you know what, let's try to set up Trick Room right here. If I end up going down, I do have a way to get around some other stuff of his team. Because actually, the Dusclops is not really that concerning, because I do have Dragonite with a Z move, and this Dusclops is already weakened enough. So I definitely just wanted to go for the Trick Room right here. He ends up switching into Luxray. I don't know if he expected the Trick Room, but I definitely just went for the Trick Room right here, and what I wanted to do from here is just start spamming Hex. I wanted to see how much the majority of this team can take the Hex. After the stats that it gets, like in this case Luxray, it's burned, Hex should do a lot, and the fact that it's stab and the fact that this Cofagrigus is offensive as opposed to defensive, I was convinced that it would definitely either KO something or just do a majority of damage. Here, this Marshadow comes in after taking out Luxray. He goes for Shadow Sneak. Thanks to the Castleberry that I prepared on this Cofagrigus, I was able to take that Technician boosted Shadow Sneak from this Marshadow. One of the reasons why Marshadow is so good is that the fact that it has Technician and has a stab move and freaking Shadow Sneak is actually really, really scary. So thankfully I was able to survive that and go for the Hex. The reason why he went for Shadow Sneak, of course, is because the Trick Room is up and he wanted to get the priority off and try to kill my Cofagrigus, but I definitely was afraid that he'd try to do something like this in the middle of all this, so I definitely went for the Castleberry on the Cofagrigus. So now I take it out with Hex. He brings in Dusclops. It goes down to Hex as well. At first I thought it was going to be able to do something, because I looked at the stats for Dusclops. It can outspeed if it has absolutely no speed investment whatsoever. But it seems like he has some of it invested, or maybe has the 31 on Ivy's on speed or something. But my Cofagrigus was still able to outslow the freaking Dusclops. I was gonna say Cofagrigus again, but no. So here he brings in the Feraligatr. Because this thing just came in, I didn't think it was gonna go down to the Hex, because these things can be somewhat bulky on the special side. Well, not super bulky compared to its defense, but definitely bulky enough to take at least one of these hits. So it does survive, but thanks to the fact that he went for a move that's not affected by Sheer Force, or actually it is, but it's like not affected by the fact that Sheer Force negates Life Orb damage when secondary effects kick in. It was able to go down to Life Orb and Poison. So on the double down right here, I decided to send in Sylveon on the off chance he decides to go for Cure in Black. And not to mention, I kind of wanted to scout what his possible set on this Cure in Black was, because if it was Scarf, I might need to actually find a way to get around it, because that was actually what I was particularly concerned about. Particularly. But yeah, as you can see here, I go for Hype Boys. I wasn't afraid of this thing if it's not Choice Scarf, and as you can see, I was able to outspeed it, which means that the thing was not Scarfed. But my Sylveon was actually Scarfed, because I was afraid of him bringing the Cure in Black, and I wanted to see if he'd bring it Scarf, and if he doesn't bring it Scarf, then I'd be able to capitalize with Sylveon being Choice Scarf and whatnot. So yeah, but now here he brings in his last Pokemon, Gardevoir, and he goes for Moonblast, outspeeds my Sylveon, which means this Gardevoir was in fact Choice Scarf, and now I'm just gonna retaliate with Hyper Voice. And because I survived the Moonblast and then I survived the burn damage with this Sylveon, what I'm going to do right here afterwards is switch out into Dragonite, and the reason being is because I wanted to preserve differential here, because since I started 0 and 3 in the Nacho Gold Digger League, I definitely wanted to just increase my score as high as possible, so I definitely just went into Dragonite. At first I thought this was a risky play because I was thinking if he crits me with Moonblast, I just lose Dragonite. But as you can see right here, it actually does crit me with Moonblast, and I actually end up surviving the what's it called, Moonblast. So I am able to survive. So I was definitely safe to preserve differential here. So that's actually really good. So as a result, now I'm able to just extreme speed this thing. I'm actually glad I still had extremes because I was actually going to replace that with something else that wasn't a priority move. So the fact that I still kept it was actually really good for me, because now I was able to get a 4-0 victory here. As you can see, the Sylmar Sylveons are actually going to win over the DC Sceptiles in this battle, which is really good, because I really wanted to up my differential for once. Because I mean, I know that I won the past couple weeks, but I mean, you know, my score wasn't really looking too hot just because of the first 3 losses that I took. So the fact that I now have 3 wins under my belt is also feeling really good, and now I don't have to worry particularly about going like, you know, 1 in 15 or something, or yeah, 1 in 15 or something like that. So the fact that I got a few wins under my belt now is actually really good. Although I am gonna still strive to try to get more wins, obviously. But you know, if I can't get them, I can't get them, obviously. So yeah, but that's gonna be the whole game. Thank you all for watching week 6 of the NGDL. As you can see, we actually did manage to pull our way through the battle. We were able to outplay our opponent this time around, and we were able to get the W. That's probably the most important thing here. But thank you all for watching once again. Stay tuned for week 7. We're definitely gonna get into that whenever we get to it and whatnot. And I'll catch you guys in the next battle. But for now, just take it easy.